Happy Friday, Sratam Petak. I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia, and this is 5 Question Friday from Zadar. Every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, I answer 5 questions from people who have sent them in on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, my consulting sessions, and people who leave it on my voicemail, except I don't have voicemail because nobody in Croatia uses voicemail. They just expect you, whenever you miss a call, to call back. You can have voicemail activated, but nobody uses it. All right, so hi, I am back in Croatia. I got back last Saturday. I was in Texas for 23 days, which felt like 6 months. In both good and bad ways. It was a pretty tough trip. I know I've shared on some previous episodes that I was there caretaking for my aunt who's had some really awful health issues, and she needed an advocate, and Sarah to the rescue. So I went over there to be with her, get in the hospital, that kind of thing. So she always watches 5 Question Friday, so I want to send all my love out to my auntie. I'm really grateful that I got to spend that time with her. And you know, something I mentioned 2 weeks ago, I did one episode from Texas, from Waxahachie, while I was there, and I did share, you know, how it's really important to recognize if you decide to move abroad that, you know, you're going to miss out on some time with relatives and family and friends, but it's important that you accept that and you do your best to still maintain those relationships, whatever that looks like, and really focus on having quality time rather than quantity. Oh, and I'm realizing I totally forgot my mic. You guys, I'm out of practice today. So I'm sorry. I think it should be okay anyways, but I'm just sorry. Yeah, so thank you so much to Cam. Cam took over for me while I was in the States, and I'm really super grateful for that, because I gotta say it was a really difficult trip. And so I wanted to give 1,000% focus to my aunt in that situation, and that's what I did. So shout out to Cam for being there for me. I really couldn't appreciate it. But also I want to give a shout out to our entire team at Expat in Croatia, because they supported me beautifully while I was gone, because I really had to drop absolutely everything. I was a bit naive about, you know, what I was going to be capable of doing when I went to Texas in terms of work. And yeah, I literally had to be like, guys, I'm out. And, you know, they kept the ship moving, and just like they always do. And they were just so wonderful and supportive. And so thank you to everybody, all of my colleagues. I really appreciate it. And to all of you who sent such kind messages of support for me and my aunt, that also was, really cherished. And all those messages, I read them aloud to my aunt, and she was really happy with that, especially those of you who sent out your prayers. So thank you. But now I am back in Croatia and back to the usual grind. So what do I want to talk to you about today? So before we get started in the questions, I just want to give you a few different updates. First, tell you a little bit about Texas beside that stuff. First, we had a meetup. So we had an Expat in Croatia meetup in Dallas, which is pretty awesome. So I met Nate, Charlene, and Jeff. And we had coffee, because of course, why wouldn't we go and have coffee? And I found this coffee place that was near the hospital where my aunt was. And one thing I saw in the reviews, which is why it stood out to me, it said, you can sit there for a long time. And I was like, great. That's exactly what we need. Anyways, when we got there, Jeff was the first one to arrive, and he brought me like this giant bag of stuff. And he was like, Sarah, you know, I know that you're here supporting your aunt, taking care of her. So my guess is that you don't have time to actually buy Texas souvenirs to take back to Croatia. And I was like, you are 1,000% correct. I did not in the slightest. There was no room for anything. So that was such a kindness. And I still haven't unbubble wrapped all of it. So I will be doing a video for stories sometime in the next few days once I'm back in Split. And I'll show you all of the Texas goodies that Jeff gave me. It was so kind. So thank you again to Jeff for doing that. That really blew my mind. It was such a lovely surprise. I was afraid that I was going to forget all my Croatian when I went to Texas, because Texas has such a it's an intense experience being in Texas because the culture is so strong, just like in Croatia. The culture is so strong. And so being there just felt like Croatia was a million miles away in another universe, in another plane of existence, in another dimension. And I really like threw myself into it. I was so excited to get my accent back, although it didn't come on quite as full on because my aunt is actually not Texan. But when I was around friends and other relatives who were, it started to come out a bit. I think it's already probably lost to the ages. I can't really turn it on. So I just went deep into that culture, and I was afraid that when I came back, I was going to kind of like take 10 steps back with my Croatian. But the first interaction I had was at the Split airport. I got caught by customs, which are like, duh. I was not surprised that I got caught by customs because I had 2 massive check suitcases full of stuff, plus my 2 carry-ons. And I did it all in Croatian. I did it all in Croatian. And she opened the bag, and I had to tell her what all these different things were and explain her what queso was, and salsa was, and why I had so many pictures in my bag. And yeah, and I got cleared. Everything was fine because really all they care about is alcohol and cigarettes. That's really their biggest deal. But no, I was like, oh, I'm off to a great start. This is excellent. All right, what else do I want to tell you? Oh, yeah. Okay, so next Saturday, I'm going to be speaking at the Raise AI conference in Dubrovnik. I know that we've already promoted that in our feed and on stories and stuff. And if you want to come, expat and Croatia people get a 20% discount. So there's a post on our grid, and you can comment on that post and you'll get the promo code. I think it's also in the description of that, or you can just DM us and we'll send that information to you. If you're on YouTube, there is a link to register for that conference down below in the description, along with the promo code. But my speech is empathy as a business model in an AI-dominated world. So I'm pretty jazzed about this speech. It's a different than ones that I've done in the past. Well, I don't say it's too much different. I mean, it's a romantic Croatia speech. And that's what I love doing is romantic Croatia speeches. So it's an AI conference, but like I'm doing kind of like the anti-AI speech, I guess you could say. So I was working on it this morning and had such a great run through. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that speech because I haven't done a speech in a couple of years. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. On that note, I do have 2 lectures coming up in Split. So I'm doing a lecture series at the Split Library on assimilating into the Croatian community. That's going to be on November 19th and 20th at the Split Library. It is free. I believe you do have to register in advance though. So I think the limit is 75 per lecture. We are going to start promoting that soon. So keep an eye out for that. If you're in the Split area and you would like to come, you're welcome to come. So I will be doing one lecture one day and then a different lecture the second day, but it's all about assimilating into the Croatian community. So thank you to Split Library for that opportunity. I'm really excited about that. Okay. Ooh, Cam's here. Hey, Cam. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the questions now. Thank you again so much for being here. I've missed you all so terribly much. And well, I am probably a little rusty and a little like extra fidgety today because I haven't been doing this in a while. And also I'm still acclimating to the fact that I am back in Croatia. I think we're going to do all right today. I think we're going to be all right. Okay. So this first question comes from Juliana. Excuse me. Again, rustiness, because I've been in a place that pronounces J's like J. Juliana, there we go. Juliana on Instagram. Do you know of any places I can go print something out on a piece of paper? I need to print out a document and sign it. However, I do not have a printer. This is a great question. Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to a photokopiernica. Again, rusty, or photokopieranie, which means photocopying. Photokopiernica means like photocopy place, essentially. I'm paraphrasing. Also, anything that says photo studio, that's a place where they print pictures. You can go there. Usually they'll print documents for you, though they might be a little bit more expensive. You can also go to a TSEC. So TSEC stores or kiosks, not all of them, but some of them, they do have a printer and you can just give them a USB stick or send them an email and they can print out something for you. So you have a lot of different options. I would just say type Fotokopienica into Google and it will find you like all of the ones that are closest to you. We have a guide called What is a TSAC in Croatia and How It May Save Your Life. So if you would like that, we can send that to you. If you're on YouTube, it's down in the description. But TSACs it's not a brand promotion. This was a post actually we did a long time ago. We've updated a number of times, but TSAC are these little kiosks and little like convenience stores that just have more things than you can possibly imagine. So they really can save your life sometimes. When you just don't know where to buy something and you need something quick, they are usually the place to go. All right, so this next question comes from Arif on Facebook. When will the new foreign worker rules be published? Okay. So they are making some major changes to the law on foreigners this year. I mean, they do this every year, quite frankly. So they have to be passed in Sabor, in the parliament, and we expect that to happen this fall. And then the new rules will go into effect on January 1st. So right now, that's the schedule. Until they announce that something's been delayed, that is what we're presuming is going to happen. Once they're approved, we will announce it. That's stuff that we follow very, very, very closely. And once those rules go into effect, we are going to let you know what those rules are, and we're going to summarize them for you. So you don't have to go through the law on foreigners and try and reconcile it against the last version. We will tell you everything. Boil it down into little bitty pieces so you can understand it very clearly what is changing and why. Okay? So if you want to make sure you don't miss that, I mean, we will put stuff here on, IG, YouTube, all the socials. But the other best way is to sign up for our Tuesday newsletter. So on Tuesdays, we send out a newsletter. It's only once a week, hence the Tuesday newsletter. And in that newsletter, we include our latest posts, which we'll probably do like a summary blog post that includes all of those changes. We also include any updates we've made to other posts and what those updates are. We include some really important actionable stuff from Croatian news summarized in English for you. There's a Croatian language lesson. There's a photo of the week. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's something I'm missing, but it's very valuable. Maya, my friend Maya is watching from the living room. I see you. Okay. Oh no! My phone died. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well.
Do you need a secondary?
Yeah, but I don't know how I'm going to resolve this situation.
What do you mean?
It's in my email. I'd have to send it to myself. Send it to you. But I don't know what happens. I might have to... Okay. All right, guys. Bear with me. Remember that rusty bit I was telling you about? All right. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to go into my email and I'm going to send my preparation to my friend over here. And it's probably going to pause this, so I'll be back momentarily. All right. Just a moment. Hang tight. I did do it when we were in the park. Hey guys, I'm back. All right, so it should pop up there. And when it does, gimme.
Can you go say hi?
Yeah.
Entertain the crowd?
Yeah. Oh, you want to meet my niece? Come here. Doji. Oh. This is my niece, Vanessa. She has a Croatian mom and American dad. And so when I come to Zadar, this is who I come visit. You want to wave? Yay! Hi! She's gonna be famous now.
Yeah,
and leave you all behind. All right. Ew. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, light to be brighter.
This is perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. It's wonderful when you have great supportive friends. Okay, let's get back over to this. I was talking about the newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, give it a shot. If you would like to sign up for it, send us a DM. Cam will get you a link to do that. Or if you're on YouTube, you can find a description down below. Okay? So our next question, this is anonymous. This came through here on IG. I read your post about the permanent residence process, and it says that after 4 years, you can get permanent residence if your partner is a Croatian citizen. I am a foreign person working here for 4 years on temporary residence work permit. If I marry my girlfriend after my 4th year, am I able to apply for permanent residence right after we we marry? Do I have to wait an additional 4 years from when we marry? Ooh, I'm so glad that we could address this. So applying, oh, you know what? I want to set a little bit of context for this. Okay. You have permanent residence and you have long-term residence. Those are two different things. Okay. They're very similar. There's like barely like a hair in difference between those two things. I really don't even understand why those two things exist, why the Croatian government felt it was necessary to define those. Maybe one day someone in the government can explain it to me. But long-term residence is one thing. Permanent residence is another. Permanent residence is only for spouses of Croatian citizens. Everyone else is long-term residence, okay? So we're just talking about permanent residence for spouses of Croatian citizens right now. So spouses of Croatian citizens can apply for permanent residence after 4 years of continuous temporary residence based on family reunification with a Croatian citizen. Now, in this specific situation, this person is on a work permit for 4 years. Now, if he marries his girlfriend, then he can then change to temporary residence based on family reunification, which I would recommend because then he doesn't have to deal with the work permit and he can freely work. But that doesn't mean that he can immediately apply for permanent residence after 4 years, because you need to have 4 years of temporary residence based on family reunification to be able to apply for permanent residence early after 4 years. So in this case, he should apply for change to family reunification once they get married. And then once he's had 5 years of continuous temporary residence, period, doesn't matter the basis, he can apply for permanent residency after that. So no, he doesn't have to wait another 4 years. Everyone else, spouses can do 4 years, but everyone else is at 5. So he just needs to go to the 5 years. So it's just 1 extra year. Not that big of a deal. So we have a couple of guides that we can send people who are in this situation. So how spouses of Croatians can apply for permanent residence. And then we also have a separate guide about making that transition. So if you're on YouTube, links to these guides are down below in the description. Everybody else, send us a DM, make a comment, and we will get it over to you. Okay. So this brings us to our lawyer tip of the week. Da, 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 da. Jesus. Okay. So when purchasing property, some countries have escrow, which is an account guarded by a third party that keeps the purchase money safe while the sale is finalized. Clients are often worried that Croatia does not have escrow. Instead, the buyer sends the funds directly to the seller. Be aware that Croatia has stricter and more formal security protections in place to ensure that your money is safe. Your lawyer can explain all the safeguards that Croatia has while the purchase is in motion. That's it. Yeah, I've sent my money directly to the seller, like on my mobile app. Just sent it like I was paying my water bill, essentially. But there are quite a few protections in place. So just make sure that if you are making a property purchase, just ask if you have concerns about the fact that you're sending a payment directly to the seller, talk to your lawyer and they should explain everything that's in place to protect you in that front. Okay? All right. So next question comes from Dawn on the 5 Question Friday forum. I am a dual U.S. Croatian citizen. My wife is a Japanese citizen with a U.S. green card. Is there a way for her to stay longer than 90 days but not become a resident? We travel between Croatia, U.S., and Japan frequently, so she won't have long-term she won't have long-term in-country stay in Croatia. Okay. So no. She will need to abide by the 90 days that she is allotted for her tourist stay. Tourist visas can only be extended in extreme circumstances, and usually that is, due to a medical emergency. In all other circumstances, she would need to apply for residence. Now, I want to tell you a bit of a hack. It's not a hack that I like to recommend because it is a bit of an abuse of the system. But I will say this, that everyone's situation is different. And sometimes the only option people have is this hack. So that's why I'm going to share it. So you can, let's say you need a bit of extra time. You can apply for residence just to kick the can down the road. And then once you leave, you cancel that application. So there's no, if you only need a month or 2 extra, you're not going to get approved in that period of time. So you just make the application I mean, that means you have to get a background check and have an apostille put on it, and you have to provide a bunch of documents to go through that process, but at least it buys you a little bit of extra time. So sometimes people really do have something that's urgent that they will not extend a visa for, but at least that is a way that you can buy a little bit of extra time. But if you do that, you have to cancel that application when you leave. It is a must, because if you don't cancel it, they're going to continue processing it, and that is a tremendous waste of police resources. Okay, so if you're going to do that kind of thing, just make sure you respect the system enough to cancel that process when you no longer need it. Okay, we do have a guide on entry visas into Croatia, so if you'd like that, YouTube down below, everybody else, message or comment, and we will get it over to you. All right, so this is our last question. This comes from Megan on the 5 Question Friday forum. I applied for Croatian citizenship under Article 11 in August 2022. While I know that waiting 2 or 2.5 years is not uncommon, especially for those who have applied via the LA consulate, as I have, and I'm continuing to wait patiently. I've heard of cases where an individual has been waiting well beyond the typical range, 5 years or more, and has still not received a decision. I'm wondering if there is any recourse in the event that an extended period of time elapses and still no decision has been issued on an application. So I'm just going to tell you right now, if somebody's waiting 4 years more, that means they're not getting approved. 99% of the time, that is what that means. This is why. Because when you're waiting that long, that's such an extreme period of time, it's because whoever is processing your application does not want to approve it for a reason that is not legal. And whenever there is a denial, they have to issue a decision and they have to say why. And if it's not a valid reason, then they won't issue a decision. So they just won't make a decision. And it just sits open forever and ever and ever. Like I spoke to someone, can't remember if it was their grandmother, and maybe they're Albanian or Bulgarian. I can't remember which one, maybe Albanian. And he's like, my grandmother's been waiting 8 years. I was like, your grandmother is never going to get a decision. No. I mean, maybe there are some rare cases where it gets shoved in a desk and someone truly forgets about it, but most of the time it's because whoever is doing the processing does not want to approve it for a non-valid reason, but they can't put that non-valid reason on the decision. So in this case, where there is an extreme wait, anything over 2 years, I would definitely engage a lawyer, period, the end. Hire a lawyer, they will look into it, they will contact the ministry. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get like a response that's as specific as you would like it to be. Okay? Because sometimes if it's in like the final stages, that's what they're going to say. They're like, oh, it's in the final stages. But the final stages could take 6 months. And I think that's one thing that people have a challenge, which is like final stages. I don't know, to me, if I heard that, if I was not educated on what the system was like, I'd be like, final stages? Oh, I'm going to get approval in the next 2 weeks. No. There are lots of things involved in final stages, so they can be that vague. But if there's a problem with your application, they're not going to say it's in the final stages. They'll usually provide something additional. So I would say that it's definitely important that you leverage a lawyer after the 2-year mark if you are not already in touch with a lawyer. Okay? That's really important. And of course, we can recommend somebody who's totally badass. All right. So of all the things we have to give you on this subject, how to apply for Croatian citizenship on all of the different bases, the rights and benefits of being a citizen, and how to get in touch with a vetted Croatian lawyer who speaks English and is experienced in citizenship matters. So YouTube, links to all that is below. Everybody else, send us a DM or drop a comment and we will get that over to you. Okay. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for being here, welcoming me back on my first day back in Croatia. I'm still, like I said, I'm still experiencing a little bit of culture shock. I mean, the roads are so much smaller. But no, it's in a bit of an adjustment. It really, really is. I mean, I'm very happy to be home and I'm happy to be back in Croatia. And but I really did, aside from the difficult part of the trip, I would say that I really had a lovely trip back home in Texas. I got to see my family and my friends, and that was just such a priceless, that was really priceless time. is really priceless time. And usually I only go every 1 to 2 years. So, I cherished every minute of it, and they welcomed me with open arms, and it was really lovely. So, yeah. And if any of them are watching, thank you so much. So that's it. I will be here next Friday. Oh, will I be here next Friday, actually? You know what? I don't know. Because now that I'm thinking about it, just a quick recap. There is such a thing as the Croatian Women of Influence Awards, and that happens in March of every year, around International Women's Day, and that is put on by the Croatian Women's Network, and I won that award 2 years ago, and this year I'm a judge for the winners for next year, and on next Friday we have a judge's call to determine the winners, and I don't know what time that call's at yet. So if I'm not here, we'll let you know, I guess is the point. But I would really like to be there with you now, or with you next Friday. So I'll keep you posted. Hey, Michael, you're in Dallas now? Did I miss you? Oh, man. I don't think I have anything else to say, but who knows? I mean, my brain is half dead with jet lag. I've been taking naps at 10:30 in the morning. I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. Okay, I'm going to let you be. It's dark now, daylight savings time. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to start doing these things inside again. And I have loved being outside so much. But in the winter time, because of this silly, outdated daylight savings garbage, now I'm going to have to go back inside where it's all light and stuff. But we'll make it through. We'll be inside together. Okay, love you bunches. Vidimo se, ciao. Ugodan weekend. Bye, bye, bye.